What is up, party people? Happy Tuesday. I love the insanity of people freaking out. It makes me smile. I told a couple of my friends who are big-time Democrats, and they're operatives, if you will, I guess. It's the best way to describe them in today's world. They're operatives. I told them, you guys want to not give Trump everything he wants. And they're like, what do you mean? I said, when you react, when you throw a fit, when you get on television and you whine and you cry, when you give a child, right? Like when you give the child what they want, they're going to pick up that energy. Trump wants this. He's going to throw everything against the wall. But with Trump, he feeds off of it, right? It's like for some, like how many times you watch a horror movie and they're like, whatever you do, don't act afraid because it feeds off fear. Trump feeds off insanity, craziness.
Don't go in that room.
Don't go in that room. And you
I
guys
have to. It's the best room. It's where I belong.
It is. And Trump will do exactly that. And the minute you react to it, he flips out and starts laughing because he realized, oh, my God, I got you guys, right? This is a celebration. I'm going to do something else that's going to make you guys angry. Even though I said I was going to do it, you guys aren't used to somebody doing it. So he goes and does it, and then you react to it. I said, stop paying attention to it. Just report on what happened. Right? Don't come on television and go, it's the worst thing in the history of mankind. Oh, my God, the world's coming to an end. Oh, because he's just going to go, we got you, right? Like the whole thing with the U.S. aid, which 99.9% of you, that includes you conservatives, you thought United States agriculture, wait, what? What is you? You had no idea what it is. Some people thought it was something for AIDS. I heard several people chime in about that. Other people thought it was one of those Farm Aid, USAID. We're doing a concert for the world.
Quincy Jones produced USA.
Right? So nobody know what this, but all Trump has to do is just mention it. And the thought of it going away, and it's like, oh, God, what's going to happen? Oh, geez.
This is the kind of do-good work of the U.S. government. This is trying to spread American goodwill among local populations. But the criticism from Musk is that it's really an ideological program. The criticism is quite extreme. I don't see much evidence for it. The White House did put out a list of little less than a dozen or so projects that had been funded over the years by USAID that they said showed that this was something that the U.S. shouldn't be funding.
No. And it has nothing to do with whether or not those countries can need that stuff or don't. It's the fact, why are we giving money that we don't need to? Imagine if I said today we're going to give $50 billion and you saw those same people that were out there, Ilhan Omar's, right, and the Jamie Raskins are out there. This is one step towards just dictatorship, all that. Imagine if I said we're going to give you $50 billion right now towards health care. You'd lose your mind.
I thought we were already under a dictatorship.
Well, we are, according to them. That's it. Man, you didn't know that? This has already happened. But all of this is to say, settle down. Settle down. You know that Trump can't do a lot of this stuff. You know that, but yet you still lose your mind. You lose your mind. And then what happens is people online spread ridiculous rumors, which make it even worse. And then away it goes. And it doesn't matter what the truth is at that point in time.
This is money that is appropriated by Congress. So there is going to be a huge fight. There will be legal challenges. So you've already seen Democrats. Democrats waged a bit of a protest outside USAID's offices yesterday in Washington and, essentially said that Elon Musk does not have the authority to do this, for goodness sake, but neither does Donald Trump.
No, because this is all about Congress. And part of that, too, isn't so much of whether or not we should get rid of this. And this thing, for those of you guys who don't know, it's been under the State Department. It's been all over the place. Okay, so it's been then somebody said, we should make it our own agency, and so we could take the money and do whatever we want with it. And that's what happens. And that's how you got yet another agency that does really weird stuff, launders money. I mean, we gave money to a nonprofit that was aligned with a designated terrorist organization, and when they brought it up and were investigating, they gave more money. That's how bad this is. That's how stupid this is. And it's not that we shouldn't give. I think everybody thinks, well, we shouldn't give a penny. No, we should. We should help our allies. We should help our emerging neighbors, cousins. We should help them. But we should have responsibility in the way that we help them. We should absolutely be pragmatic. Think about how we're going to do this. What's the best way to use this money? Because it's one of those things where if you invest in certain areas, less opportunity for them to say, come here, because their nation's doing better. We should hold their nations accountable when we do stuff. This was operated as kind of it's a free-for-all. We can do what we want with it, right? Like whatever you guys want. We can just have some fun. It's our piggy. It's not your piggy bank. It's America's piggy bank. And when America is broke, when America is spending so much money on interest, like ridiculous amounts of money on interest, and we're handing out hundreds of millions and billions of dollars yearly. And some of it is for good stuff. Some of it is to help with natural disasters, things of that nature. We're never going to change that. But when we're out there pushing things on nations that don't want those things because we think we should attach some strings, and we're telling, hey, Peru, here's a 70 grand, which is not a lot. Let's be real. It's a drop in the bucket. It's not even, it's like if it fell off the ground for the government, they wouldn't even bend over to pick it up. Like that's how small that is. But it's one thing towards something that they don't agree with. When we decide that we're going to put an opera on in Ecuador, wherever they wanted to put a transgender opera on, that's another thing that you're pushing onto people who aren't interested. They're trying to feed their people. They're trying to build their economy. They're trying to emerge at times from hyperinflation. And you're like, you know what we should do? Have a sing-along with a drag queen? Look at Bill.
That'll solve all your problems right away.
It does. I mean, I tried it myself. Didn't work like I thought. That's why. But hyper insanity, screaming like the world's on fire. And he's just going to take away every dollar we ever had. He's now going to put it back there. I'm not a fan, by the way. I'm going to say this. I love Elon. I'm not sure I want him running around every single place. And I'm not sure I want him to have access to certain things. God bless him. I want him to be successful. But let's take this for what it is. This is what he was brought in here for, and let him do it, because what's going to happen is we have checks and balances, and we have guardrails, and we want them. Our founding fathers set up guardrails because they knew, you know what? Sometime in the future, both sides are going to be the Whig Party and the new Republican Democrats, or whatever they had back then. I always want to bring back the Whig Party. I think it would be just phenomenal. But they always thought, sometime down the road, we're going to have some people that are crazy.
And you have to have long hair to be in that party.
You do. Or no hair. But you got to wear a wig.
You got to wear a wig.
Right? Because, like I can't, like back in the day, there's like, there's no way I can do this. I do not have a wig. Where's my good wig? How can I go debate? I have no wig. Give me my wooden shoes. Off I head.
You're now the head of USAID. The head of Doge, Elon Musk, called USAID a criminal organization and added that it is time for it to die. Do you agree with that?
They have basically evolved into an agency that believes that they're not even a U.S. government agency, that they are a global charity, that they take the taxpayer money and they spend it as a global charity, irrespective of whether it is in the national interest or not in the national interest. One of the most common complaints you will get if you go to embassies around the world from State Department officials and ambassadors and the like is USAID is not only not cooperative, they undermine the work that we're doing.
Yes, because they're interested in agendas, activism. It's like a giant nonprofit. They're not interested in advancing America's agenda. And in this situation, America's agenda is we're kind, we're here to help. What can we do for you? Not what thing can we do for you that is wacky, that serves no purpose in helping to do whatever you need done, but what weird thing can we do for you? Who wants a comic book?
What other country taxes their citizens to send money to us?
None. We don't really get much money. The way we do it is we say, hey, you should invest in our countries. That's it. And they're like, yeah, that's a great idea. You've got all this great infrastructure, all this amazing stuff. We should do that.
But
Nobody
nobody's
does.
getting taxed to have to do
No,
that.
God, no. No, no, no. Because and this is part of being an American, part of having that American passport, part of all of the American dream is you're on top of the world. And because of that, everybody thinks you should do extra to your part. You should do extra. America, you need to do extra. No. America needs to do what it needs to do when it needs to do it in the right way, not to placate a bunch of people who want to do wacky stuff. And I don't care if it's $1. I mean, look, did they make a lot out of it? Like they did this and they did, yeah, they made a lot out of that. It's still, look at all the other stuff and what are we getting out of it? Not a lot. And it's not about whether or not there's a transgender opera or a Peruvian, transgender comic book or $2 million to Guatemala for, LGBTQ plus gender identity studies. It's about we need to be smart where we spend this money. And when we are sitting here at home going, man, times are tough. We're spending a lot of money on our debt. We're doing all these things. Maybe, just maybe, it's time that we spin it around and do the right thing here first, because the stronger, more powerful, more positioned we are globally, the better it is for everybody. It's not hard. I thought this was hilarious. My man, John Kennedy from Louisiana.
To my friends who are upset, I would say with respect, call somebody who cares. They better get used to this. It's USAID today. It's going to be Department of Education tomorrow.
Oh, yeah. And that is interesting because that's the thing that they're eyeing now. And the Department of Education is a whole nother ball of insanity. We spend more money per pupil than any other nation, any other developed nation. The money we spend is insane. And a vast majority of that goes to a wacky administrative state that, when I went to school, and I'm sure many of you are like this, I had a principal, I had a vice principal. I didn't have 4 vice principals, 2, principals. I didn't have any of that. I had a 1 and a 2. That was it. And nowadays, you got a gazillion. And when you look and see what the administrative state, how teachers, they're there and they've grown a little bit, but the middle, the administrative state, has just expanded. Not just in public schools. Go look at colleges. You want to know why it costs so much money to go to Vanderbilt? Is it because of the professors? Ooh. Or is it because you've got 19,000 different insane administrators that are looking at everything from, this person's in charge of this, and this person's in charge of the LGBT, and this person's in charge of the Hispanics. It's crazy. It is. And that's the stuff that costs so much and does so little. Ton of stuff to get to today. We've got some issues down under, guys. We're going to talk about it. Nature is having its way with people in Australia, and it is not a good situation. Talk about that. Talk about immigration. More people angry, throwing a fit when it comes to immigration. And they're being told now by other people that are immigrants, shut up or else, because you need to leave if you don't want to be here. And it's fascinating. And the boomerang. You know what a boomerang immigrant is? You're going to find out. We'll talk about that as well. It is the Chad Benson Show. Super Talk 99.7. All right, kids, Birch Gold. Uncertain times may call for something that is a little more unconventional to some people. For you guys, you get it. Gold, great way to protect yourself in inflationary times, in times of uncertainty, especially in the marketplace and globally. It's also a great place to protect yourself when the dollar's struggling. So what would you want to do? Well, why don't you talk to my friends over at Birch? They want you to text Benson to 989898. You do that today, and you're like, okay, now what? They're going to send you out the ultimate gold, the ultimate guide to gold in the Trump era. So you're going to get that. It's forwards done by Don Jr. They're also going to get you an investment kit. Let you take a look how you could even bring your IRA or your 401k over and get it, backed by gold with zero worry about paying any penalties or anything like that. It's that simple. It is a smart thing to do to have not only the tangible, but something as a just in case things go sideways scenario. That is what this is all about. Don't miss out. Don't be that person. Text Benson to 989898 today. Get the investor kit and the ultimate guide to gold in the Trump era from my friends over at Birch. That's Benson to 989898 for Birch Gold.
Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s nomination as Secretary of Health and Human Services has passed a key first hurdle. We'll tell you about it coming up at 12:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Oh, it's about time. Get rid of those pesky vaccines.
Getting close.
Oh, that's exactly what it is. This is it now.
I heard a rumor he was going to ban surgery, too. Is that true?
Surgery. That's it. You got to do surgery on yourself. Everything is natural, kids. Everything's natural. Get ready for it.
And no anesthetic.
Oh, God, no.
No anesthetic.
We haven't done enough of really looking into anesthesia and whether or not we should be using that. It's not very nice. Yeah, it's over the hurdle. Party line. He's probably going to pass. And then, everybody's like, he's not qualified. You know what? If you've ever met a politician, you're like, not a lot of them are qualified to do a lot. Not trying. One of the reasons, like on my national show, I never bring politicians on because I want to be able to criticize them. And they don't like that. And reality is you meet some of them and you're thinking, good God, I'm not sure this is something for you, right? Like maybe you should stay away from anything with responsibility. That might be good.
If he is confirmed, HHS will provide a 30-day notice to the Help Committee if the agency seeks to make changes to any of our federal vaccine safety monitoring programs, and Help Committee will have the option to call a hearing to further review.
Okay, what's that mean? He's not going to be able to do it. He's not going to be able to go in there and just wipe something out. Because guardrails, people, guardrails. We have guardrails for a reason. We didn't want a dictator. We didn't want any of that. We wanted people that were able to go in there, need some disruption, but not get it to the point where, because the Founding Fathers didn't want us to go from one extreme to another, which is always a fear in politics. And you see that, especially because people can get emotional. I don't know if you guys are aware of that. When they get emotional, things get a little sideways. Next thing you know, we're going from one extreme to another, and we don't want that. What we want is somebody's going to come in and be able to be a bit of a disruptor, move people in a different direction, be transparent, but not blow everything up to the point where it's like, oh, good, we're a hot mess. Because the CDC does do good work, but they were a hot mess during COVID. They do like a lot of these agencies, inside of them, they do good work. The problem is mostly people that lead them have done it in such a way where it's all about politics and the agency. It's never about the output of whatever it is you're doing. And that's the thing with government. Government got to the point. I always talked about the NFL this way. The NFL is about protecting the badge, the NFL. It's not about the players. It's not about the fans. It's not about the owners. It's about the league itself. Probably a little bit of the owners. It's about protecting the badge. That's what it's about. Government is about protecting your piece of the government pie, your piece of the agency, your piece of the bureaucracy, your piece of all. That's what government has become, which is unfortunate because you would like to think that's not what it should become, but it is because, alas, we're in a time now where politics is everywhere. And something that shouldn't be political is made political because the people that run it, they didn't get there because they had the best ideas or they were the hardest workers or they were disruptors. That's the private sector. They got there because they knew whose butt to kiss, when to kiss it, how to kiss it, and then make them lunch.
Mr. Kennedy and the administration reached out seeking to reassure me regarding their commitment to protecting the public health benefit of vaccination. To this end, Mr. Kennedy and the administration committed that he and I would have an unprecedentedly close collaborative working relationship if he is confirmed.
That's Tom Tillis there. Tom's like, all right, look, I spoke to the guy, and he's willing to do it, and he promised if he does anything, he'll run it by me first.
Which is not going to happen.
No, he's not going to do that. Well, I mean, he's going to have to, but somebody just texts and says, you lost me at the CDC. We only see the CDC for what happened in COVID. Before that, the CDC, because, and this is the media's fault. The media became so obsessed with Trump that everything in the world became political. You wear a mask? Why not wear 2? Why not wear 4? You're a Fauci sexual? Do you see where I'm going? It became about politics and not about taking care of the people. And that's the sad thing. I had a buddy who worked for the CDC, but he was a lawyer, none of that stuff. And he just said it's about how you maneuver in the political world, not what your ideas are. And they swung and missed a lot, and they recognized that. And yeah, you know what? They had a lot of issues. So many issues because they were trying to be all things to all people. And they came at everything rather than trying to find a solution. They wanted to come at it like a lot of things do in politics from the political standpoint. How's this going to look politically? Not how is this actually going to come out on the other side and what does it look like? Which is frustrating because we deserve better. We deserve better, I say. Immigration, talk a little bit about that because it is a nightmare and it's not getting any better. We have boomerang folk. If you don't know what that is, get ready for that. Boomerang people. What are boomerang immigrants? What is this? Is this something new? Is this a new thing? And it's not something the youngsters are saying on the old TikTok. Something totally different. We'll talk about that, a bunch of other stuff. It is Chad Benson Show, Super Talk 99.7.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Drivers got some problems out there right now. Rutherford County, they've got some road work that is blocking the right lane. This is 840 going westbound right there before Bill France Boulevard. And then you've got road work. The left 2 lanes blocked, 65 northbound at the Duplex Road overpass. Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s nomination as Secretary of Health and Human Services passing its first hurdle today, the Senate Finance Committee. The vote along party lines, 14-13, helped by Republican Senator Bill Cassidy, who was a doctor before serving in Congress, originally said he had reservations about Kennedy, but voted to approve his nomination in committee.
If he is confirmed, HHS will provide a 30-day notice to the Help Committee if the agency seeks to make changes to any of our federal vaccine safety monitoring programs, and Help Committee will have the option to call a hearing to further review.
Now RFK's nomination heads to the full Senate for a floor vote. Ratings for the Grammys are out.
I just feel very full and very honored.
Despite Beyonce, fewer people watched this year from last year. Nielsen says 15.4 million people watched on CBS. That's about 1.5 million fewer than last year. The numbers so far only account for viewers on CBS. The telecast also available to stream by those who have Paramount Plus with the Showtime package. The show raised nearly $9 million for wildfire relief efforts. And the second of 5 rocket launches scheduled for today has gone off without a hitch. ABC's Jim Ryan says, assuming the final 3 get off the launch pad, this will be a historically busy day for space travel.
A sunny day in the West Texas desert.
2, 1.
Blue Origin hoisted a payload of scientific experiments, but no crew to the edge of space, where the moon's gravity was simulated for a few minutes. Earlier, SpaceX sent a batch of satellites into orbit and will do so again this evening. Outside the U.S., the Russian Space Agency and a New Zealand company have rockets set to go today.
That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Beacon Capital Management. They have a retirement-ready toolkit for you. Now, the recent presidential elections got most people wondering, how's everything going to go? What's going to happen? What's going to happen with your money, investments, or even retirement? Well, you're not alone. But there are steps you can take now to be better positioned regardless of what happens. And the guys at Beacon are amazing. I spent a day with them. They're just amazing. It's a great place locally. Go shake hands and see what they're all about. They're going to do something awesome. They're going to send you out something. It's simple and easy to get. You call 615-488-9303. You're going to get a free retirement-ready toolkit, okay? That's a Money Enough for Life book, a retirement planning checklist, and a Maximizing Your Retirement Income white paper. No cost, no obligation, and no pressure. So if you're in retirement, nearing retirement, Beacon Capital Management has it all ready for you, that free retirement-ready toolkit. Call them today at 615-488-9303 to get your free retirement-ready toolkit. That's 615-488-9303 or online at askbeaconnow.com. The great avocado war has come to an end. Didn't even start. Not even a shot was fired. And the maple syrup war never started either. Thank God for that. We dodged the proverbial bullet.
Well, Trudeau knew what the next step was.
He did.
We were going to invade for the maple syrup.
That's it.
And I've got plenty of Miss Butterworth.
Did they still have this Butterworth?
Stocks up.
Who's the one they got rid of? Aunt Jemima.
Yeah, Aunt Jemima.
Okay.
Because we need to cancel all of these minority
Uncle
icons.
Ben, Aunt Jemima. Now
Can't have it.
Both the families are like, we'd like to bring that back.
The lady from Land O'Lakes. Can't have an Indian on the front of a product.
No
What's
way.
that about?
No
I'm
way.
sorry. Native American.
That's right. Native American. So luckily we dodged the bullet. And thank God for that. I mean, I was worried. I was like, oh, geez, what will happen if nothing was going to happen?
No Tim Hortons. That's what would have happened,
That's
sir.
what would have happened. That's what would have happened. Well, you know what, though? Tim Hortons has, they've got American corporation side, too.
Yeah, but that would have ended it all. Canada would have
think
shut
so?
them down and be like, you're not operating inside their borders.
Oh,
They're
God.
the enemy.
Next thing you know, they would have taken away the CFL. Where else can I watch football where they have 3 downs?
That's right.
And if you fair catch a punt, it's a point.
Yeah. And the end zone is like
25
20 yards.
It's so awesome. If you've never seen Canadian football, you would think
I have not.
they're
So
making it up as they go.
is the end zone, is the field 100 yards?
The field's 100 yards, but the end
Plus
zones
the
are
ends-
25 on each side. And the goalposts are up front,
Yeah, right on the goal line.
Oh,
right on the
wow.
goal lines, old school. You have to run a kickback and you have to run a punt back. Otherwise, the other team gets a point.
Yep.
So there's no fair catch. And there's 3 downs.
And people wonder why I'm not that into sports.
And so when they put guys in motion, you have to stop in the NFL and then you can go. They can run and then they can turn upfield and start running already.
Yep.
It's fantastic.
Like a slingshot.
Yeah. It's like they made it up as they went. We'll put that in there.
Or
eh?
they did it the Canadian way.
That's exactly it. So luckily, we've averted that.
The pretexts are utterly ludicrous. This action is utter madness. It is a betrayal of America's closest friend, of your ally, your neighbor, your best partner in the whole world. It is an act of economic warfare. And the president was clear just this morning that it is a direct attack on our sovereignty.
Oh, settle down. They were worried, but we've averted it. Now, for China, so Trump put on tariffs on China before. Okay, so he put those on before. And oddly enough, everybody thought, well, Biden's in, he's going to take them off. He didn't. He actually increased several tariffs because he was frustrated with them as well. So we've got back into the tariff battle. I think maybe the coal is going to be a big deal. About 6% of our coal goes over there. And so because of that, they're going to put a 15% tariff on it. I don't think they're not going to buy it. But again, I don't know. And I don't know how long it lasts. But let this battle begin. And then with Mexico, is it a win? Yeah, it's a win. You know, there are people out there who are like, no, it's not a win. I don't know. I still, to this day, nobody can really tell me exactly what the thing is with Canada. They're going to work on, like, mob stuff, organized crime, and maybe some fentanyl, and maybe some stuff at the border that really wasn't that pressing. I felt like it's one of those ones where he wanted to go over to Trudeau and he basically, get one over on him. And I don't know. I mean, everything he agreed to, pretty much they were getting ready to do and or did. And when I hear people say, well, there's already 15,000 soldiers from Mexico on the border, that's not true. In 2019, there was 15,000 soldiers. When Biden took over, for the most part, they kind of went off to other areas because there were more needs in other areas. And if there was 15,000 soldiers, my question is, what have you done? What was your job? Because it wasn't to stop anybody. No. So the 10,000 soldiers going there is a good thing. Does it mean it's going to be perfect? No. But alas, it's a start. And everything's a start. And as we all know, it's like anything. Hey, you're on a probationary period.
The president's saying that these tariffs are delayed. But of course, there's a lot of a lot of stuff that could happen in the span of 1 month, let alone just in one day. So it is very possible that these tariffs could be avoided altogether. But President Trump has made it very clear that he believes tariffs are a very powerful tool. He said so himself. They are powerful both economically and in getting, quote, everything else you want.
They are. And it's the thing. He said the same thing we've been saying, which is we've got so much power. Our pockets are so deep that we're able to do things others just can't. And we've been using the analogy, you got 5 minutes of air, it's 10 minutes to the top, and you can't hold your breath for very long. You better make a decision on whether or not you're going to work with us, and we'll give you an extra air tank, or we'll see how this goes. And that's the way he treated it. Mexico, we'll see what this happens. But 30 days, maybe out to 60, maybe out to 90 after that. Let's see what the influx is, but let's see what happens with the fentanyl. And I go back to, we got serious issues here with fentanyl because we are the consumers of this stuff in so many ways. Opioids are a problem, all of that stuff. But we've got to do better at first and foremost, enforcing the border laws, stopping the people from coming here, and then trying to figure out what's going on here. And everybody, the ICE raids, they are what they are. They're not... The thought process that they're going to go arrest like 15 or 20 million people, that's just not going to happen. It isn't. Some are going to deport themselves. Some are going to be caught. But already we're seeing, hey, we're getting them, and then we're having to release them?
Some of the immigrants arrested in the first days of the Trump administration have already been released back into the U.S. That's according to 5 sources familiar with the operations. Those who've been released are being kept in a monitoring program. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, or ICE, can track them by ankle monitors or wristbands. Why would some of those arrested be coming back into the U.S.?
It's because they're short on space, because even though Trump promised the biggest deportation operation in American history, they don't have more funding or more detention space than they did before he took office.
Yeah. That's a big issue. So you can't keep them in perpetuity until we move them out because there's laws and there's only finite amount of space that we have. What do you have, like 42,000 beds, give or take? Depending on the day, too. It's not like every day.
That's less than 20 million, I think.
Yeah, that's less than 20 million. And it's not like we rotate them. Like we got 42,000, we move them out today, we got another 42,000. It doesn't work that way.
He's doing the smartest possible thing he can, which is go after the bad guys. Go after the people that are killing and trafficking drugs and trafficking kids.
The worst first. Isn't that what the whole thing was? Let's go after the worst first and see what happens from there. Well, the worst first is the most important thing. Everybody else, let's be real. If I have my druthers and we catch somebody and you're like, Chad, you got to choose. This person over here has been arrested on several occasions, has shown a tendency to be a little bit violent and dangerous. This person over here has been here 15 years, has raised a kid, and works 3 different jobs to pay for their life. I'm going with the bad guy first. Okay, we're going to go with that one first, and we'll figure the other one out later.
And so what ICE is doing is they're having to look at who they've arrested and decide if someone is not deemed to be a threat to public safety, most of those who haven't been convicted of serious crimes, they can then release them on these monitoring programs. But it's really antithetical to the very notion of these arrests, and it really underscores the fact that just because we see someone arrested and we see these large numbers posted every day by ICE, that doesn't necessarily mean that is leading to a deportation, because the process is complicated and they're short on funding.
Which is, something that we have to talk about. And we might get into it a little bit next hour. What do we really do? Because for a lot of you out there, it's like, we got to get rid of everybody. Not going to happen. We have to live in the world of, okay, what's the best way to approach this? Because otherwise we're going to be sitting here 4 years from now arguing another kind of immigration strategy, when now is the time to get it done the best way possible.
And a lot of people forget that this is not a sudden issue. This has been growing since the early 80s.
Yeah.
And they keep kicking the can down the road because we don't want to be the bad guy.
Not only would we want to be the bad guy, you've got donors, right, who are like, hey, I need cheap labor, man. I need cheap labor. I need cheap guy. Give me some cheap labor. Turn a blind eye. And then you had the Democrats who were like, oh, bring them over here. We're going to have indentured voters for the rest of forever, and we'll grow a voter base. And then all of a sudden, people started going, whoa, wait a minute here. Right? We do want action. Because in the 80s, we got action. We got amnesty for a promise of doing something. Guess what happened? Amnesty came, promise never happened. And it fell apart. And you look back and you think, Reagan's like, we're going to do this once. Well, that didn't happen the way you thought it was going to work. Partially, Democrats and Republicans both play into this because, like everything, you have to enforce, you have to want. And when people come and say, hey, Bell, I know you can vote on this thing, but don't vote for it or vote it down or tie it up somewhere because I need an extra $1,500 for my manufacturing company and I can't get anybody to work here. So if you could do everything you can to drag it out, that'd be great.
Oh, and by the way, I meant to talk to you about my donations to your campaign.
Yeah, I'm throwing a $500 dinner per plate in your honor if you come, and we got some big donors, and they're all going to show up. That's the way this thing works. The difference between 5-10 years ago is people want action now. They want action. They want to see stuff actually done. The old saying is the money's not in the cure, it's in the disease. Well, guess what? We want the cure for stuff, and it isn't going to be perfect. And we need to recognize that. So if you're looking for perfection, if you're looking for, we're going to get everybody out of here, that is just never going to happen. It's how do we do it in a way that doesn't destroy the system, meaning give the Democrats everything they want? How do we do it in a way that is real, and the approach is real, without big business being the ones who get to decide who stays and goes kind of thing because we need labor? It has to be, because if you want a black and white issue, like it's yes or no, it's just not life because humans. That's why. You want perfection, it's just never going to happen. So what are the real numbers? What does it really look like? How do we go about addressing it in a smart way without, once again, being here 4, 5, 6, 8 years going, ooh, it feels like we've done this before. Ooh, I don't know. Crazy. And I know people get frustrated out there. No, they all have to go. It's not going to happen. So then what? That's what whenever somebody says everybody has to go, okay, tell me how that works. Because you're never willing to enforce the things that you need to do to actually get it done because your donors won't allow that. On the other side, you've got people that aren't going to participate in helping. And so we're not going to get there the way that you think. So we need to come to the realization that we're going to have to do something that may piss everybody off and not actually totally solve the problem, but get 70% there, if that makes sense. It is the Chad Benson Show, Super Talk 99.7. Raycon, best earbuds around. Look at everything. They've got headphones that are incredible. Gaming headphones. My wife has the headphones that go in like your mandibular bone so they don't go to your ear. It's amazing. If you're looking for the best audio sound, I swear by Raycon. I do this for a living. This is not just my job here, but all the other stuff I do. I have my Raycons in all the time. Best sound quality, best fit, best design, easy to use, 8 hours of talk time, 32 hours of battery life, active noise cancellation. I can go on. You want more? Fantastic. Multi-connectivity, fast charging, just to name a few. 20% off right now with a 30-day happiness guarantee. If you're not happy, send it back to get your money back. No questions asked. It's that simple. Go to buyraycon.com/Chad. 20% off site-wide right now with a 30-day happiness guarantee. Buyraycon.com/Chad. Buyraycon.com/Chad.